Well, it looks like we have a bit of a bit of a situation. And I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but Reddit is actually being used as a source for good. And let me explain why. So it turns out that apparently there has been a May-wide, month-wide rather, um, boycott of Loblaws and their subsidiaries, which include these over here. If I go off the top of my head, I know No Frills, Canadian Superstore, and your independent grocer is on that list. But what I'm trying to tell y'all is that in Canada, anyway, what you find most times that a lot of companies have a bit more of like a monopoly on the population. For example, when it comes to the phones, for instance, you have two options: Bell. No, sorry, three options. You have Bell, Rogers, Telus. Okay, those are the three super giants. Okay, and some of them even help with the credit cards and stuff. So if like Rogers servers go down, for instance, like you can't use your debit card, or is it credit card? It's one or the other. So it's pretty crazy. The same applies to like grocery stores. And say, for example, in America, you'll find there's a lot more competition when it comes to cell phone companies or grocery store chains and all this stuff. So, anyways, so what ends up happening is that, of course, if you ever play the game Monopoly, when you have the monopoly of the board, it is kind of a, you can do whatever the hell you want, which is basically what's been going on. However, in this case here, Reddit actually came together and did a month-long boycott on Loblaws. And I mean, they've shown some insane stuff. I mean, like, well, before we even get started, let's actually read what the sub's about. So here it says, a sub devoted to highlighting the ridiculousness cost of living in Canada right now. We'd like to thank our overlord Galen Western Jr. of Loblaws and CEOs like him for continually raising grocery prices so he can get a big fat bonus check every year while the rest of Canadians struggle to make ends meet. Now that's a cause I can get behind, actually. But in case we're all but anyways, we're gonna catch up with this quick video from about a month ago, just so we're all on the same page.
Also starting today, Loblaw could be facing a boycott. An online campaign targeting the company has really been gaining steam. And Scott, as of today, the message is out: shop elsewhere for the month of May.
Yeah, some pretty strong language from Loblaw, or from obviously the petitions here and the boycotts and the potential boycotts. It's one thing is for sure, it's drawing attention to the supply chain in Canada and how few companies control that supply chain, including Loblaw, which is the leader. Up to about a third of that is under Loblaw's jurisdiction. But let's take a look at some of these examples as far as what the boycotts are and what they're calling for out there. Here's one example. Boycott Loblaws for the month of May. Hashtag Loblaws is out of control. They have 60,000 signatures now, and they list the Loblaw group of companies: Real Canadian Superstore, No Frills, Fortino's, Value Mart, Shoppers Drug Mart. And here's another petition board as well: Boycott Loblaws and affiliated stores. And they have a list of demands on this one: sign a grocery code of conduct, for example, no more price increases for the year, and no further increases in dividends for shareholders, which is a pretty tall demand. There's also other calls for boycotts as well. Change.org has 105,000 signatures. They points out that the profit the grocery companies are making since the pandemic, and also pointing out the salaries of individual CEOs and founders like Galen Weston. And so there's a lot of movement here, Heather, behind the scenes, and we'll see what happens today as this boycott gets going.
Some better news is the fact that this boycott is actually going indefinitely instead of for the month of May, which is actually great for the rest of us, because, you know, a lot of us talk about cost of rent, cost of living's increasing, everything's going up and about, it's getting harder to stay in life and all that. And the question that I really ask is that, how is it possible for people who make like below the poverty line, like how do they end up getting by? Because I mean, food stamps, actually they don't have food stamps in Canada, but like, you know, food banks and all that stuff could only do so much for one person, or especially a whole family. And, you know, with the wages and stuff and all that. Anyways, the whole point is economy is in a big mess right now. And, I mean, if you look at some of the stuff that, I mean, Loblaws is charging, I mean, let's take a look here. You have this in one area where it says it is $6 for 2 kebabs, okay? I'm pretty sure it's actually cheaper if you go out of your way to go make yourself like more kebabs by yourself, like buy the ingredients yourself. It's probably cheaper in the long run, because 2 kebabs is not feeding nobody. I don't care if you a light eater or not. 2 kebabs is like a snack. Okay, you're paying $6 for a snack. And on this one, they even had the audacities to serve expired cheese. Now, I know stuff like yogurt you can kind of eat it after it's expired, but it's just kind of like it's like a yeah. So you're telling me that they're overcharging for expired goods. And and the worst part about it is that they've been getting away with it for so long, and then all of a sudden you have people being like, "Yep, we're not letting this slide no more," which is great. But I actually want to take up some snippets from a local article that I came across that was covering it. So here's the title. It says, "1 month into Loblaws boycott, what effect has it had on a grocery store giant?" 1 month into a boycott of Loblaws, the effectiveness of the campaign against the grocery store giant remains uncertain. The movement, initiated by a group on the social media platform Reddit called Loblaws is Out of Control, encouraged Canadians to avoid shopping at the grocery chain or any of its affiliates for the month of May to protest soaring grocery prices and recording high profits posted by the company during a cost of living crisis. While we don't know what's for sure what the impact the boycott has had on sales until second quarter results are released, it likely won't be significant. Yeah, I should really slide in that, like, when it comes to just boycotting, you really have to put a dent in it. Like, you have to, like, people have to stop buying from like these stores for like months on end. And a big conundrum is the fact that like you might sometimes you don't really have a choice. Of course, you can have the choice to buy locally, but like I said earlier, like in Canada, that choice for like local stuff is a bit not so much, especially with all the monopolies running around. And sometimes you believe that this store might be local, but it's like turns out no, they're owned by some other big super giant. You know what I mean? So it's really hard to tell. But anyways, what I wanted to actually mention is that in this part also says here, some smaller grocery businesses and independent stores in and around the GTA, General Toronto area, have reported a spike in business since the boycott began. For its part, Loblaws has pushed back against criticisms of the company, saying it is not responsible for higher food prices. Chairman Galen Weston said at the grocers annual meeting last month, the company has been working hard to bring more value to customers through its discount stores, new promotions, and pushing back on supplier price increases. While Loblaws did agree to sign the Grocery Code of Conduct last month, Soberman says that had more to do with the federal government threatening to impose new regulations than consumers avoided their stores. They have seen it was probably in their best interest to do so because the government would have came up with regulations that some would have been more severe. So let's actually take a look at what this sign of Grocery Code of Conduct even is, because I'm actually not even sure what this is myself. So let's take a look. So a quick Google search gives us a set of rules and guidelines that seek to improve fair dealings in the industry, especially between big grocers and their suppliers. So while the government is hammering down on this, as much hammering down as it happens, food prices are still too much for the people. And what I really want to get across is the point that sometimes, actually a lot of time, if you push people enough into a corner, like they will say they've had enough. Especially when you kind of break down to like some stuff you can make out of convenience because you don't have time, and some other stuff you can be like, okay, well, you need water, you need stuff like that, but maybe if, I don't know, like cookies, you don't need to buy cookies, or I don't know what other quick snacks people buy, like chips, I guess. But the point of the matter is that if people are going to be protesting this, hey, I'm all for it, okay? Because big corporations always tend to push people around quite a bit. But what I really want to take away is that when it comes to protesting, and I'm actually going to throw this in real quick, or boycotts, a lot of boycotts, you'll notice that they don't last very long at times. It's just because it's like a very quick stuff. While this one's indefinite, I'm just saying that it kind of lessens the blow when you want to stick it where people, stick it where it hurts. And for many of these big corporations, it's the pockets. It's always the pockets. If you stop buying their stuff, they have to be like, okay, we have to go back and fix whatever this is going on, this and that. That's what we got to do. And so, what I'm really trying to get across is the fact that we need to protest effectively, but it's just like if you're gonna boycott in the most effective manner, and the pockets is generally how it's going to go down. You feel me? Oh yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to cover this real quick, but I know cost of living is crazy, but like I mean, even when I go to the grocery store and I see some of these prices, I'm just like, oh my god. I'd be cutting corners sometimes. Like, I'm like, okay, we're not buying this today. We're going to buy this today instead of this stuff. We're going to buy this stuff. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of, or, actually, you know what? Before we end off this, gas prices, okay? Whew. Gas prices are like the one aspect of society that will always kill my soul. Okay, especially when I get the car when it has no gas in it and I have to fill it up and I see the gas bill, I'm like, somebody shoot me. And then what kills me about the about the pump is that you're filling it, right? And it goes to, it's like 40, and it's 50, and it's still going, then it's 60, and then you go to 70, and you're like, is this car gonna be filled up? Then boom, you get $75 as your bill, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god. No, I have like every time, you could ask anyone who knows me. Every time I have to fill up the car with gas, especially on my own paycheck, I'm always having a heart attack because I'm like, there's no way. Oh, I don't know how other places do it, but here it's in liters. So if you know what liters are, it's like it'll be like 150, like $1.58 per liter, and I'm just like, somebody shoot me, for the love of God. But anyways, yeah, people are crazy like that. Yeah, I actually don't understand, but. Anyways, I did not mean to rant about gas prices, but if you enjoy this type of video, okay, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow my social down in the description below. And that's all I have for you guys today, so later.